County 911. What is your emergency?
Hi, the cops came to my house, and I just want to make sure that they're okay because they sent me over to my neighbor's house, Chris and Nancy.
What's your address?
I'm at 110 Green Meadow Lane, and they asked me to hop the fence because they have attack dogs, and I went in, and someone had, the little boy and the mom are dead, and so I ran out to scream to them, but then they went in the house, and they haven't come out yet. Are they okay? Have you heard
Okay,
from the
hold on just a moment.
I can. I know where the controls are, but I'm not going in there until... Garrett! Tell the cops to come this way.
Okay, ma'am.
Did the cops call it?
Listen to me. What did the cops tell you to do?
They told me because this guy's a professional wrestler, and I'm friends with him, and they said, can you go put the attack dogs in the kennel? And I did that. And then I went upstairs. Everything was open, so I was yelling, Nancy, Daniel, that's the little boy. And I went up to Daniel's room, and he'd been killed.
Okay.
And then I went up to Nancy's, where she sits to watch TV, and she had been strangled and had tape on her face. And then I didn't see Mr. Benoit. I don't know where he is. I didn't want to go down in the basement for some reason.
Okay, ma'am.
He might be dead. Oh, now there's more cops here, but those cops...
Ma'am, listen to me. What did the cops tell you to do? Did they tell you to go to the neighbor's house?
Yes. And
okay.
Now they came when I said everyone's been murdered, and they went in the house, and I said I looked in every room but the basement, and they went in the basement, and now they haven't come back out.
Okay, listen to me. Listen, we have got contact with our cops, but if
they're okay?
Ma'am, our cops are okay.
But they're okay.
But if they told you to go to the neighbor's house, you need to stay over there, okay?
No, I'm here. I'm right outside the Benoit's house. No, I mean, they just said stay here in the driveway. I just got nervous because they never came back out.
You have contact with your SO people that went in the basement.
Okay, they do. She's talked to the cops in the house. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was nervous that he might be in there and do something to them. I just don't know what.
This is the neighbor that was told by the police to get out of the house. She's the one that found the murdered bodies. And she said when the cops ran down in the basement and she hasn't seen them, she's afraid something has happened to the cops in the basement.
Your cops?
Listen to me. The SO dispatcher said he has contact with them and they're okay.
Okay, they're okay. And they're okay. Another cop here. So I just wanted to make sure your cops in the basement were okay.
Okay, everything's fine.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. I just wanted to make...
Hi, you reached Dennis Fagan. Leave your name and number, and I will get right back to you. Thank you.
When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press pound for more options.
Mr. Fagan, this is the Fayette County Sheriff's Dispatch. I do have a couple of deputies out at Mr. Benoit's residence, but the gate is locked, and there are two pretty aggressive canines, or aggressive German Shepherds out there that are, our deputies are unable to get in. If you happen to have a gate code or anything for him, if you could give me a call back at 770-461-4357, 770-461-4357. Thank you very much. Mr. Fagan.
Yes.
Hey, this is with Sheriff's Department Dispatch.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. Did you get my message, or did you just...
No. I just called the number back.
Okay, very good. I do have a couple of deputies out at Mr. Benoit's house.
Okay.
But the gate is locked, and they're unable to get inside.
The gate is locked.
Yeah, you wouldn't happen to have a code for that, would you?
No, I don't. And the message that we got, like I say, left a message at 3 o'clock in the morning for another wrestler.
Right.
The gate's open, the dogs are in the backyard by the pool, and the back door's open.
Huh.
That was it.
Right. Yeah, because apparently
that's why they're worried about him, because Chris is very born-again Christian, very religious.
Right.
It's unlike him. He didn't show up for a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
He never made it to the plane. They can't reach his wife. So now nobody's answering the home phone. Nobody's answering the cell phone.
Yeah, and I think as far as, I'm not sure how far away from the road the house is, so I'm not sure if they're able to tell if anybody's there.
Oh,
but
okay.
like I said, the gate. It's got a call box. Apparently, nobody's answering that.
Okay.
And then the dogs are actually out in the front, so, and they're
all right, okay.
yeah, and they're pretty. According to my deputy, they're pretty aggressive as well. So,
Okay.
but they're not friendly, as she put it.
Oh,
but,
okay.
So yeah, you don't happen to know anybody that would know that gate code offhand, would it?
You know what? I'm going to try and make some phone calls. Maybe maybe he did leave it for somebody, and I will get back to you.
Okay, and probably what I'll do is just have I'll have my guys go ahead and leave from where they are. And as soon as you find that information out, then just give us a call back. We'll send somebody back down there.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Mr. Fagan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, were you able to get a gate code or anything like that?
No, but what happened was they just called back. They said that there's only one neighbor to the left right there who's very friendly with them.
Okay.
They don't know if they might have the gate code, but now they're saying that there was 2 text messages, and they were both at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, one from his phone and one from his wife, Nancy's phone.
Okay.
And they went to the same wrestler who doesn't even live anywhere near them,
Right.
and basically said, this is the house number, the dogs are in the backyard, the patio door's unlocked, and that was it. So that's what they're worried about. And it's unlike, like I said, it's out of character for Chris to do anything like this.
Right.
He's missed 2 shows, one on Saturday and pay-per-view on Sunday. And so they're saying the only thing they know is that one of the wrestlers called back and said he's always talking about his neighbor next door to the left, who is, I guess, good friends with him.
Right.
But I told them about the dogs, and they were saying, they don't know. The gentleman I'm dealing with at World Wrestling is a retired judge from up here in New York.
Okay.
Nobody really, has a gate code, they're saying, but the thing is, I don't know what you guys would do is if you thought something was wrong in the house,
Right.
you'd have to, like, taser the dogs to put them to sleep.
Basically, we just need somebody to contain them. I think that would be the main thing.
Right.
Now, that neighbor that's friendly with him, do you think they would be able possibly to contain those dogs?
That's what the other this Chavro is the name of the other wrestler. That's what he's saying. He's saying that Chris is always saying how friendly he is with his next door neighbor, but it's to the house to the left.
House to the left.
Yes, and
we don't know
like
the
I said,
name,
they all seem to be very worried because they get these messages at 3:30 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And they said when they spoke to him the other day, he seemed depressed and he said something about food poisoning. And they, like I said, they get the same messages. Nobody's answering the cell phones. Nobody's answering the house phones.
Right. That's definitely suspicious. Okay. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll have a deputy swing down and see if they can make contact with the neighbors.
Okay.
And see where we can go from there.
Okay. Thank you. You'll let me know. Thank you. Sir.
Yes. No problem.
Bye.
Bye.
His wife and little boy would be dead. Now tell me something's wrong with this situation. I mean, seriously, tell me what's wrong with this situation. That massive celebration in the ring was nothing short of suspicious. Why would you celebrate 2 men that WWE doesn't exactly have the best admiration for when it comes to size and stature? It brings some lot of suspicious details involving these 2 men and specifically Benoit's family. And the fact that later on he would not be mentioned in WWE programming. Very suspicious. Well, this video today, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to break down the entire card of WrestleMania 20. It illustrates direct and indirect references to Benoit and to Eddie Guerrero, both. Some instances, just Eddie. Some instances, just Benoit. This card was stacked with telling an entire story, not just with 1 or 2 matches, but an entire pay-per-view. And at the end, the celebration. 4 individuals would be dead. Very suspicious set of circumstances, to say the least. But to help us understand, we have to understand what kind of a story WWE at WrestleMania 20 was trying to tell. And here we go. We start with Big Show versus John Cena for the United States Championship. This one's easy. Cena represents both Guerrero and Benoit. Big Show represents the business in general, trying to hold them down until Cena, the small guy, finally overcomes the big guy. Then we have a fatal four-way tag. Now let me go over this right quick. RVD and Booker represents ECW and WCW, companies that both Benoit and Guerrero have been to. Jindrak and Cade represents the New Blood. Benoit and Guerrero at that point in time was the New Blood. La Resistance represents two men that are willing to align themselves together. That's what Benoit and Guerrero did coming into WWE. And finally, we have the Dudleys, two brothers. Guerrero and Benoit resemble two brothers of sorts. It's right there in your face. And I didn't realize it until some time back. We have Jericho versus Christian. Both of them fighting over a man. Jericho, the more experienced guy, represents Kevin Sullivan. Christian represents Benoit. Back and forth, it seemed like Trish Stratus, who represents woman, was going to go on Jericho's side. And she dupes him and helps out Christian. Catch the drift now on the story? Then we have a 3-on-2 handicap match. The Rock. The Rock represents the first big name that Guerrero and Benoit interacted with in a major rivalry with DX. The Radicals were helping DX against The Rock. Mick Foley represents a guy that's been to ECW and WCW, just like Benoit and Guerrero. Flair represents the mentor to both Guerrero and Benoit. Batista and Orton, both of them represents the two students under the learning tree of Ric Flair. Ironically enough, Guerrero and Benoit was under that learning tree with Ric Flair. Funny irony. Randy Orton's first world championship would happen this same year in August against Benoit for the World Heavyweight Championship. Batista, a year later, would rival with Eddie Guerrero before his death. You get the symbology here? WWE is telling a story, not just through one or two matches, but the entire card. But let's keep going. We have the Cruiserweight Championship. This represents Eddie in general, how Eddie fought various promotions in Mexico and eventually in WCW, where at times the Cruiserweight Championship would be on the line with one of these array of people. Ironically, all these people in this picture were from both ECW and WCW, just so you know. Eddie worked with both companies. Then we have Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar, which represents how Guerrero and Benoit acted like bulls, just like these two gentlemen here. What does Stone Cold represent? The array of companies who would promote the match with Guerrero and Benoit in it. That's the story they are telling in these matches. Pretty telling. Then we have this other fatal four-way tag. Basham Brothers, two brothers. Again, same as the Dudleys. We have APA. Just references about Guerrero and Benoit. We have Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty, two friends working together. World's greatest tag team. If Guerrero and Benoit were together, they would form a world's greatest tag team. So there you go. Two ladies here, Victoria and Molly Holly. Again, two women, like two men. Tempers flare, going at it for a prestigious prize. Just like Guerrero and Benoit would face each other. Nothing different here. Just women's wrestling, that's the only difference. Eddie would take on Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle is the closest resemblance to Chris Benoit. Benoit and Angle's wrestling styles are very similar. They both use the triple German suplex. Both are technical wrestlers. Both are submission specialists. Then we have Undertaker versus Kane, referencing about two brothers facing each other neck and neck, just like Benoit and Guerrero, constantly facing each other, bickering, at odds. When they first wrestled each other back in the day, it was like this. Two sibling rivalries at each other's throats. There you go. And then the main event, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit. Shawn Michaels was trained by Jose Lothario. Lothario had some run-ins with the Guerreros. Reference about Mexican wrestling. How does Triple H fit into all this? He is the game. The wrestling game. Not just the game as the person. How at times Benoit wasn't just fighting various people, but he was fighting the game itself. The wrestling profession in general. That's what Triple H represents. And he overcome the game. He overcome the style from Mexico. Triple threat. 2 against 1. He overcame the odds. So in conclusion, that whole card told a story about Benoit and Guerrero. Do you see why now it's suspicious behavior that they would put on this celebration? Like I said, 38 months, 23 days later, these two men, along with Benoit, the rest of Benoit's family, would be dead. I'm going to do more videos about this and go into more details why this was all a red flag.
I'm sick of you ducking me, Undertaker. You know I'm the most dominant superstar in SmackDown, and you know you can't prove me wrong.
You think I'm afraid of you, little man? I can't count the number of superstars who have tested themselves against the dead man and come up short. If you insist on making this mistake, then your grieving family will have no one to blame but you when the inevitable occurs.
Staples Day Planner from 2007. One burgundy Afghan that was covering Nancy Benoit's body. One burgundy covered Bible found by Nancy's body. Yeah, is that weird? All the stuff around Nancy was burgundy colored. And I also think it's interesting we didn't see any sort of evidence testing done on this blanket covering Nancy's body. Surely they could have gotten some DNA from that, but they didn't test that, I guess. If they did, that portion has been redacted from these documents. I mean, I guess if it did contain evidence of Benoit's guilt, then why would it need to be redacted from the documents? Who knows? One light blue pillowcase and pillow from Daniel's bed under Daniel's head. One pair of red and white socks. One blue and cream colored Bible, my first Bible, placed at Daniel's head. So matching burgundy blanket and Bible for Nancy and matching blue for Daniel. The blue pillowcase and the blue and cream colored Bible. I get that he's a little boy. So of course, you know, light blue is often the color chosen for young boys. But there could be something to it. I don't know. Just something I noticed. One clear plastic water bottle. One Jackie Chan extra green beverage container hold numerous black stir straws. One Dynamite Vineyards 2004 Merlot wine bottle found in gym of residence. There's that wine bottle. Why didn't they test that for fingerprints and DNA? And again, if they did, it's not in these documents. And if it would have proven that Benoit was drinking the wine or Nancy was drinking the wine, because remember, Nancy was the only one who had alcohol in her system post-mortem. I think that would have been cool to have that tested to find out who was drinking the wine. Just, you know, so you know. I've had people comment telling me it's stupid to question why they didn't test these items. Then they tell me the reason they didn't test them is obvious, and it's because it's expensive and time-consuming to do these tests, and that there was no reason to test them because years of detective work has taught them well, and that it was obvious what happened anyway. I guess that's one way to look at it, but to this idiot here who's playing detective, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, why didn't you do your job, police? You had one job. Figure out what happened. Why didn't you fingerprint anything? Why didn't you DNA test the wine bottle? Were there any wine glasses in that sink full of dirty dishes they mentioned? And if so, how many? 1? 2? The dishes were dirty. You could have fingerprinted those glasses. Toxicology tests show only Nancy had alcohol in her system. Chris did not. So many questions could have been answered. Was Nancy drinking alone? Was Chris drinking and had no alcohol in his system because he lived long enough for it all to metabolize? Was anyone else there drinking the wine? I don't know. How many glasses were in the damn sink? You can see more of everything I just ranted about in greater detail throughout my Benoit series. And you can see all of this in the video about the search warrant. And if it's not in there, then all of the parts of part 6 about the investigator supplementals. That goes over every one of these investigators and what they wrote in their reports as they carried out their duties in the home. There's a link to the full playlist in the description box below. And in parts 4 and 5, you can even see some crime scene photos. Nothing graphic, but interesting nonetheless. So getting back to this evidence list, and then it has listed again a burgundy-covered Bible found by Nancy Benoit's body, but if you notice, the item number is exactly the same. So it's not like it was 2 Bibles or anything, it was just 1 Bible. Now we're switching investigators again, and this evidence was collected by Detective Fenimore. 1 full bottle hydrocodone for Nancy Benoit, and then it has the prescription number. 1 empty bottle hydrocodone and the prescription number. 1 empty bottle hydrocodone. 2 boxes testosterone for Chris Benoit. So right here, we have some testosterone. However, testosterone is not the same thing as anabolic steroids. And if you watch part 11 of my series, you can hear about a legitimate medical reason that may explain why Benoit had been using testosterone. 1 carisoprodol for Christopher Benoit, full. Carisoprodol is generic for Soma. 2 alprazolam for Nancy Benoit, full and partial, and alprazolam is Xanax. And you can see in more detail in part 5 about the search warrant exactly how many pills were left in the bottles. All of that's covered in part 5. 2 empty bottles, 1 Lorcet for Chris Benoit, 1 Lunesta for Nancy Benoit. The Lorcet is a stronger formulation of hydrocodone, and Lunesta is a sleep aid. 1 bottle naproxen for Nancy Benoit, 1 bottle carisoprodol for Nancy Benoit. Naproxen is just a pain reliever like Aleve. It's an NSAID or a non-steroid anti-inflammatory drug, and carisoprodol again is Soma. 9 needles. So again, that could be connected to steroid use, testosterone use, but there's no evidence to show whether any of these needles had even been used. It said that they found needles in individual packages, capped needles, but they never mentioned if they saw any needles that looked like that it had residue in it, that it had been used. Again, if they found it, it's not in these documents, but they did collect these items for evidence. So why didn't they test it? We have 1 Georgia ID for Chris Benoit, 1 brown bottle of blood energizer with suspected marijuana and pipe, 1 pack of 1.5 rolling papers, 1 bottle of 222 Johnson & Johnson pills in white bottle. And again, all of that's covered more in previous videos. And then we are now on June 26, 2007. So this was the evidence collected that day. So on 6/26/07, Detective Bruce Lee collected 1 financial statements, various paperwork, records, contact numbers, and other miscellaneous paperwork. And Detective Fenimore collected 1 one blue bag with suspected growth hormone. And there we have another instance of something mentioned that is steroid related, and that was found in the refrigerator in the bonus room where Nancy Benoit's body was found. So there's also a miscellaneous multiple bottles of prescription bottles, vitamin supplements, ephedrine tablets, and this was collected by Mary Harris, and she also collected one foil Activia lid, and I think that was found in Daniel's room. So it just makes me wonder, why didn't they test any of this stuff from Daniel's room? Daniel had a very high level of Xanax in his system post-mortem. Why didn't they test if the yogurt had been drugged? I guess you couldn't get that from the lid, but did they find the Activia container? Because maybe they could have looked in that to find out if somebody crushed up some Xanax and put it in there. Again, I'm not saying that it was deliberate for Daniel. It could have been meant for Nancy Benoit. It could have been meant for Chris Benoit, depending on your perspective. And then Daniel could have accidentally ingested that, leading to something going terribly wrong. But I talk more about that in previous videos. Remember, this is a series, so each video builds upon information covered in previous videos. So let's keep going. One LaCroix can of soda with contents from Daniel Benoit's nightstand. So again, did they test that? Was that drugged with Xanax? Don't know. We'll never know now. One sipping straw found on the floor in Daniel Benoit's bedroom. One blue pillowcase, the second pillowcase from the bed. One light blue fitted sheet from Daniel's bed. 3 Verizon LG cell phones, 2 with black leather cases. So there you go. All you guys who are interested in the cell phones, they found 3 Verizon LG cell phones, 2 with black leather cases. And from my understanding of reading the documents, they never specify whether 2 were Nancy's, 1 was Chris's, whether 2 were Chris's, 1 was Nancy's, or how exactly that worked out as far as who was using those phones. All it says is that 3 phones were found. Well, 3 cell phones anyway. 1 cell phone charger, 1 United portable phone and answering machine unit, all sheets and pillowcases from the bed in the master bedroom. And it was that bed that they said that there was a little bit of blood on the bed. But again, no information as to whether the blood on those sheets were tested and who it belonged to. I'd also be interested to know where this blood was located on the bed. Was it at the pillowcase? Was it down lower where, I mean, I'm not trying to be gross, but, you know, it could have been that time of the month if a little accident could have happened. I'm not trying to be disgusting, but it's been known to happen. So a little more information on the blood found on the bed would have been cool. Miscellaneous prescription info, bags, thank you card, and prescription directions found on dresser. 2 keys in red holders, which were to the safety deposit box, 4 credit cards and miscellaneous receipts, Bank of America Platinum, and American Express Platinum, 1 light blue pillowcase from Daniel's bed, second case. And again, this is listed, oh, interesting, look at this. 1 blue pillowcase, second case. But unlike up above, where the Burgundy Bible was listed twice, they don't have the same evidence number. So is it 2 second pillowcases? Because if you recall, the pillowcase that had been under Daniel's head had been collected for evidence the previous day. Torn rags from the gym area of home. Remember, they said that Benoit had torn a rag and put it around his neck. 1 set of miscellaneous papers from office area of residence. So then it says ARA, page 1. And I'm not really sure who AR would be. There is a Detective Russell, but that's a J. Russell. But this individual collected 1 black bag with miscellaneous papers. Page 2, 1 white piece of paper with SmackDown schedule from June 23rd, 07. 1 SmackDown/ECW talent tour travel. Then it says page 3, 6 pennies, 3 nickels, 1 Canadian nickel, 1 Canadian penny, 1 Bank of America ATM card expired November of 07, 1 Austrian $5 bill, 2 Austrian $100 bills, 2 Euro $20 bills, 1 Euro $5 bill, 1 Euro $10 bill, 1 black wallet with miscellaneous items and cards. Then it says page 4, 1 American Express card, I guess that's the expiration date, July of 2008. 1 American Express card expires April of 2010. 2 Bank of America cards expiring April 2010 and July 2007. 1 Georgia driver's license. 1 $5 bill, 2 $20 bills, 8 quarters, 6 dimes. Then it says page 5, 1 manila folder with contract papers from bottom drawer. Black and orange flash drive, 256 megabytes from center drawer. 2 clear containers with tax information, 1995 to 1999 and 2000. And that's the end of that day. Now we're on June 27th, 2007. And they collected 4 empty ring boxes. Oh, and all of these items from this date are items they found in the safety deposit box. So most of this was already covered in Part 7 and 7B. But just so you know, these items were not taken from the home. And MH is again Mary Harris. It says 4 empty ring boxes, 4 rings with varied stones. 1 gold with pink stone,